Every morning when I'm driving to work, I drive past this statue. And every single time I feel something I can't quite put into words. Today, I'm finally going to try. My name is Baek, but most people call me Baek. I'm Korean and I've been living in Australia since 2010. I'm actually working just around the corner from here, and every single day I drive past this statue on my way to work. I've been wanting to make this video for a long time, years actually. I kept telling myself later, not yet, soon, but honestly I feel guilty that it took me this long. Because the woman this statue represents, they didn't have the luxury of waiting. This is Comfort Woman Memorial Statue. She's a young girl sitting quietly, hands on her lap. There is an empty chair beside her. That empty chair is for you, for anyone willing to sit with her, to listen. Statues like this one exist all over the world now. In the United States, Canada, Germany, Australia. And why is she here? In Huntingdale, Melbourne, of all places. Let me tell you her story. Between 1932 and 1945, during World War II, the Imperial Japanese military forced hundreds of thousands of women and girls into military sexual servitude. They were given a name, Comfort Woman. There was a Japanese military word for it, but these were real women, real daughters and real sisters. And what was done to them had no comfortable name. They were taken from their home, some were kidnapped, some were lured with false promises, factory work and better life. And once they were taken, most never came home the same way they left. Women were taken from China, the Philippines, Indonesia, Taiwan, Malaysia, Netherlands, and even from Australia. Estimates suggest up to 400,000 women across Asia were affected. They were between 11 and 20 years old. Korea had the largest number of registered victims because Korea fought the hardest to make the world remember. But this was crime against women across the entire region. In South Korea, 240 women officially registered with the government as a survivor, brave enough to come forward after decades of silence, shame, and stigma. In Korean culture, these women were often blamed, avoided, and forgotten. It took until 1991, nearly 50 years after the war, for the first survivor, Kim Hak-sun 할머니, to speak publicly. Her courage opened the door for others.
뉴스 나오는 거 보고 내가 결심을 단단하게 했어요. 아니다, 이거는 바로 잡아야 한단 말이야. 저렇게 거짓말을 하는데 왜 거짓말을 하는지 모르겠단 말이야. 그렇다면서 내 말을 다 들으면 너는 편할 것이고 내 말을 안 하고 내가 안 들으면 너는 이것이 죽은 거야. 근데 그때 결국은 그 사람한테 참 기집애가 좀 이제 장관을 당하는 그 참혹한 말이 나오지가 못하겠어.
As March of 2026, only 5 of those 240 women are still alive. Their average age is 95. In Taiwan, the last known survivor passed away in 2023. No one left to speak. In China, fewer than 20 remain. In the Philippines, Indonesia, the Netherlands, most are gone. Before you move on, I want you to try something. Think about the woman in your life. Now imagine that she was taken. At 14 years old, told she was going to a job. Never came home the same way she left. That's not a hypothetical. That's exactly what happened to a real woman who had families just like yours, who had people who loved them, who waited for them. This statue isn't just a political symbol. She is someone's daughter, she is someone's sister, she is someone's mom. A while back, I was watching a video about comfort woman on YouTube, and I made a mistake of reading the comments. There were people denying it ever happened, saying it was exaggerated, fabricated, political, and I got into it. I'm not going to lie, I argued back and forth for way too long. At some point, I stopped, and I thought, this person probably has no idea about victims' experience. They have never heard a survivor speak. They have never stood in front of the statue like this one. And that's not entirely their fault, because most people outside of Korea and Japan have never been taught this history. It's not in Australian textbook, it's barely in Western media. Before I go on, I wanted to say something directly. I'm not here to blame Japanese people today, not at all. Some of my closest friends are Japanese. I genuinely love Japanese culture, the food, the music, the art, the people. I mean that. What happened during World War II, that was the result of war, of a military system, of a decision made by people in power, not by ordinary people, not by you. War brings out the worst of humanity, and that's exactly why we need to talk about it. Not to assign blame across generations, but to make sure it never happens again. And I think that's something we can all agree on, regardless where we are from. Because the victims of war are not just in the history book. They are here right now, today. This woman survived something from unimaginable, who spent decades for fighting. Not for money, not for revenge. This touch here, so we don't forget. So I hope after watching this video, you won't either. If this video means something to you, please share this video. Not for the view, but because this woman deserves to be remembered. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
우리 멜번 소녀상, 평화 소녀상 모두 잘 지켜주세요. 여기까지 하겠습니다. 많이 사랑해주세요.